Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Big Program webinar. My name is Joe Chavez, and I am a project manager here at Scenic working on this program. Thank you for taking the time today to learn more about Scenic and the Broadband Infrastructure Grant Program, or BIG. You have been invited to this webinar because your school or schools in your county or district have been identified to receive a 1 gigabit fiber broadband connection through the California Department of Education's BIG program. Please know that today's event is being recorded and will be available on our website if you would like to revisit the content or share it with your colleagues. Throughout the event, your mic will be turned off. Please note that there will be time at the end of the presentation for comments and to address any questions you may have. Please also feel free to use the chat or the Q&A function as well. During the next 25 to 30 minutes, Scenic staff will share the history of the program, BIG award benefits, the steps you need to take to receive fiber-based broadband connectivity, and the step-by-step process Scenic will take to facilitate your connection, including supersedure. Scenic is a member-governed 501c3 nonprofit organization founded to design, build, own, and manage a robust, high-capacity, next-generation IP-based network and services for member use. Members include the rich array of California's education system, including our state's leading research universities and public K-12 schools, community colleges, and libraries. As you can see from the slide, we also connect other institutions that align with Scenic's mission. For over 27 years, Scenic has worked to meet the research and education networking needs of its member institutions by operating the California Research and Education Network, also known as CalREN. Next slide. CalREN consists of over 8,000 miles of optical fiber statewide, supporting members in all 58 counties of the state, allowing them to connect to the network via thousands of last-mile circuits. For example, all K-12 county offices of education connect directly to one or more of our CalREN backbone sites throughout the state. Scenic has relationships and volume purchasing power with all the major data communications providers in California. Many of Scenic's members use either 1 or 10 gigabit per second symmetrical services. A number have multiple 10 gigabit services, and an increasing number have one or more 100 gigabit services. Several leading research universities are in the process of upgrading to 400 gigabit service. Scenic has a long history of developing broadband deployment projects with a focus on digital equity and access for its 12,000 institutional constituents, serving 20 million Californians. Next slide, please. By using CalREN, Scenic member institutions can count on reliable, efficient services and cost-effective access supported by Scenic's network expertise, which makes the complicated process of getting connected as easy as possible. Additionally, Scenic's Network Operations Center operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to monitor and manage the network. Scenic also serves as consortial lead for the largest E-rate consortia in the country, serving the statewide needs of K-12 and public libraries, thereby ensuring our members maximize broadband funds by accessing the full suite of subsidies available to them. Next slide, please. One example of Scenic's dedication to California's K-12 system is supporting online learning and testing. Prior to being connected to CalREN, some schools were unable to administer online testing or could only accommodate testing a small number of students at a time. By providing schools with broadband connections into CalREN, more than 500,000 students are now able to take the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress test simultaneously. The large amount of data that testing generates is transferred across Scenic's network to the testing servers without traversing the commercial internet and is treated with the same level of care as high-capacity research data. To aid in the smooth testing experience, Scenic constantly monitors and upgrades its network and provides high-touch support by highly skilled Scenic engineers joining K-12 conference bridges to provide quicker resolution whenever testing issues occur. Now, at this time, I would like to introduce you to Kim Lewis, Scenic's Vice President of Governmental Relations, to tell you more about the Broadband Infrastructure Grant, BIG, and its predecessor, the Broadband Infrastructure Improvement Grant, BIIG. Kim?
Thank you, Joe, and so great to be here with all of you today. I think as we are all too aware, the pandemic has only further elevated the importance and need for robust broadband in our communities. To date, we have 29 sites participating in year one of the BIG program, and we have already had 28 of those year one sites complete their connection process and are utilizing their connection today. In the second year of the program, we had 8 sites participating, and all 8 sites are connected. In year 3, we have 5 out of the 7 sites that are connected. For year 4, which is why all of you are invited to join us today, we have 22 sites awarded across 10 counties that are able to proceed this year. This brings the total number of counties participating in the program up to 23, that we are really working to bring that robust broadband fiber solutions to them to enable digital learning opportunities. Next slide. Now for a bit of a deeper dive on the program history, as well as a side-by-side comparison of BIG and its predecessor program, the Broadband Infrastructure Improvement Grant Program. The Broadband Infrastructure Improvement Grant Program was created under then Governor Jerry Brown when the state of California moved to its K-12 online assessments. The first year provided almost $27 million in funding, and the following year, based on the success of the initial suite of funding, the governor and legislature not only provided another round of funding, but almost doubled the amount available. That program was administered by our friends at the K-12 High-Speed Network, who contracted with Scenic to support the implementation of the Broadband Infrastructure Improvement Grant. These connections were technology neutral, meaning they could have been a fiber or a fixed wireless connection, as the goal of the program was different. It focused really on ensuring that the students were able to take their online tests. Altogether, through this initiative, over 437 sites were awardees. All work in the BIIG program has concluded, and all of those 437 sites are utilizing their connections. Now, the BIG program, again, why we're all here today, was created in 2019 as part of Governor Gavin Newsom's leadership to focus on broadband connections that were fiber-based, or future-proof, as some might say. And this priority issue area was present for the governor even before the pandemic. We have a total of $12.7 million general fund that has been provided for this project to identify schools who have been lacking fiber-based broadband connections and to be able to deliver reliable and scalable connections to them. Governor Newsom and the legislature are working to bring broadband for all to all of California, and this program really supports that vision. Next slide. With the BIG program funds, we wanted to take a few moments to cover the benefits of participating in this program so your school, district, or county office of education can become familiar with the costs that will be covered by this program. For many schools who are lacking a fiber-based broadband connection, it is often the one-time cost of special construction that makes it difficult and prohibitive for a school. These expenses will be covered by the grant and E-rate subsidies. For site readiness, there are items such as space, power, or other requirements that may need to be addressed before the circuit can be installed or get to that minimum point of entry location at your school site. Equipment could include something such as a router or switch. Knowing the school does not currently have a fiber-based broadband connection, the program does anticipate that some level of equipment may be needed at the school site in order to receive the circuit. Further, we have some schools that may not have the technical staff to support the activities needed to integrate the service to the network, and these costs may be provided. As with broadband service, there are monthly bills for the cost of the circuit, and the big program will pay for anywhere from 6 to 18 months of these recurring costs. This is a range of time as it depends on the timing of the installation of the circuit, as well as ensuring that the transition or supersedure process aligns with the federal E-rate process. The big program is looking to maximize federal subsidies available to schools through E-rate, or as it's known as the Universal Services Fund, as well as the state's Universal Service Subsidy Program for schools, known as the California Teleconnect Fund, or CTF. An exciting benefit of the federal rules are that they provide for an enhanced level of funds when state dollars are dedicated or matched specifically for this type of activity. I'm hoping that everyone is aware and familiar with both the E-rate and CTF program, so I won't touch on that here, but one of my colleagues will touch on the supersedure piece further. As noted, BIG is a one-time grant program, and the ongoing recurring cost of services will need to be supported by the school site. Fortunately, CNIC will be providing E-rate consultation to ensure that the cost borne by a school continues to maximize both the E-rate and CTF discount. While the BIG program will be providing a tremendous benefit and covering a lot of the costs of bringing fiber-based broadband to your school site, given the limited funding available for the program, we want to make sure to note what other costs that could come up and may need to be considered by each site. As noted in the first bullet, and dependent upon the policies of your county or district, there may be an annual or monthly fees for ongoing support of the connection. Other equipment that your school may need to think about are things such as firewalls or local area network devices, such as routers, wireless access points, etc. Through some of our past experiences working to connect our vast membership, we want to highlight that it's important to be as thorough and accurate with the information provided to us. For example, if a school later on decides that they want to build a new server room and change the location of where the circuit will go, those change order costs will not be covered by the grant. Another example could be additional reconfiguration support for your local internal networking needs. After installation and integration of your circuit, CNIC will notify the service provider that your school site will be able to call them directly for support. Ongoing troubleshooting and dealing with outages will need to go directly to the service provider. We will make sure you have all of the information needed to do so. As I noted, we wanted to highlight some of these potential additional costs, which are really dependent upon your local circumstances, and so that there is ample time and opportunity to plan accordingly. Now I'd like to turn the presentation over to my colleague Sun. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sun Nguyen. I am the project manager for BIG. There are 3 steps grant awardee will need to complete. First is the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. CNIC will be providing an MOU that explains what awardees will agree to cover the specified monthly recurring cost of the service through the supersedure process. Typically, this occurs from 6 to 18 months after the start of the service. We will cover supersedure in more detail in upcoming slides. The second step is to obtain contact and site information for eligible site through CNIC survey. And the third step is a regular and ongoing communication with the BIG project team to schedule on-site activities and share important project updates and milestones. This communication may include CNIC staff, consultant, contractor, service provider, district, and COE staff. It is vital to keep these parties informed as we progress, so please be sure to copy everyone on this BIG related communication as possible, as appropriate. Also, You can find a big survey link on the chat that we just put there. We appreciate your diligence in completing these important steps. I would like to provide an overview of the connection process now. There are 6 major milestones. First is our information gathering stage. Next, we will have the service providers and big professional service completing the site survey to obtain the necessary information we need as part of the next step, which are the technical review and the equipment configuration discussion. Once these 3 foundation steps are complete, we can then move into equipment delivery and room readiness construction. Completion of this step sets the stage for the next one, which is a final circuit delivery by the service provider and the big fiber connectivity. The final step is supersedure process, which, as we covered on the previous slide, occurs typically between 6 and 18 months, but it is dependent on the actual circuit delivery date from the carrier. Now let's look at the supersedure process a little bit more in detail. Once the integration is complete, CNIC will contact the signee of the MOU as well as the carrier to start a supersedure process. CNIC will provide the site with necessary information and resources for the contract transfer and filing for E-rate on the service. At this point, all remaining steps will be coordinated between the site and the service provider directly. Next, the site will file Form 471 for E-rate in compliance with USAC requirement. This is typically done by the end of March. Finally, the site will initiate communication with the service provider to transfer the service from CNIC to the site, making effective the following July 1. Again, this is typically from 6 to 18 months after the circuit installation. Once this is complete, the first invoice from the carrier will arrive during the first quarter of the fiscal year. Now we will move to some of the question and answer portion of our webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat function. We do have a few commonly asked questions that I would like to go over now. If other dish sites in the district need fiber-based broadband assistance, will they be eligible for the grant fund? We are collecting information on additional sites with low or no network connectivity, and we continue to explore opportunities to connect them based upon available funding and resources to support the future project. Please do bring these sites to our attention via the URL posted on the chat. Do I need to fill out anything to participate? Yes, awardee will must complete and sign the MOU or the Memorandum of Understanding, committing the school to pay the ongoing monthly cost and providing site contact information along with other information that is requested in the CNIC survey form. When will I know my costs and how those costs determined? The ongoing costs will be listed in the MOU and based on the quote from the service provider who respond to the CNIC RFP. Thank you for taking your time of the day to go and learn more about the Broadband Infrastructure Grant Program today. Now we will go over on some of the Q&A question in the chat. Let me see. Okay. I turn on the permission to talk for all the attendees. And let's go to the first question. We have done the survey, the MOU. What's the next step? Once you sign the MOU, we will authorize the circuit order with the service provider. And once they accept the order and schedule a site survey, we'll reach out to you and we'll work with your site on this day for the site survey. And then we also we will set up a meeting with the site to discuss on any equipment requirements or any room ready work needed for the circuit. Any other question from anyone?
I don't see anything in the Q&A. I'm not sure if they're able to unmute if they have any questions. If you do have questions and you can't unmute, the chat should be open if that works better. And we're excited, Nicholas, to be in touch very soon as well, work with you. Oh wait, there's a Q&A. Great, Gary, that's good news. Anyone else? Okay. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. If there is any other questions, or if you think of something maybe after we end the webinar, you can always reach us at bigprogram@scenic.org, and I did put that email address in the chat as well.
And we want to thank you all for joining us today, and we appreciate your partnership and participating in this program, and happy to make sure that we can bring cyber-based broadband to your site. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for your time.